Okay, I wasn't born yesterday, and I don't think yeah, you, maybe my audience can tell me what they think. This sounds like the biggest batch of horse shit that I've ever heard. Hold
Tell my great grandkids, and if fortunate enough that we were there when our country was on the edge, and when we brought it back.
Yeah, that's right. So this report card talking about being on the edge. 70% of eighth graders are below proficient in reading. 70%. 70 can't read at grade level. 70 can't. Right, and then there's like Chicago, there's like 30 schools where no kid can, and in Detroit, only 6% of kids can read at grade level. 6%, like illiterate. People are illiterate.
And this is 2025, and people are living. Now, keep this in mind. When they talk about 30% of eighth graders, that's across the board. Imagine how little the minority kids, these kids are in these terrible schools. Back in 2017, there was a study by the Department of Education out of California. 75% of the black boys in the state of California could not read and write, could not pass standard reading and writing tests. 2017. So this has been going on for a while, and what we're realizing is the enemy are these labor unions, these educational labor unions. They care more about the adults than about our kids. They care about their security. They care about their fluff employment. And so you start to see the mentality. If this is the mentality that's running our government, that's why we have to get rid of it. To go back to our previous conversation, we need to get people in that love our kids, love education, and find a way to give them a much better opportunity to have a lifestyle. This has to be one of the best, the most important, essential positions in our country. A good teacher, folks who care about our kids, who have a passion for it. And now we have to figure out a way, how do we find a way to bring the very best minds to this industry? And that's through merit, and that's through compensation. And we'll have to look at how we can get that done across the country, so that so this is a profession that the best want to come to, and the worst go to do something else.
Yeah. All right. Well, so you guys re-proposed a bill. It's called the Educational Choice for Children's Act. And we love all these executive orders. And I want to ask you about some of Trump's executive orders about education, which you just signed. And this is great. But every time we have this executive order conversation, we always like, all right, well, let's get some stuff in bill. We got some codify some law here too. So what is the Educational Choice for Children Act?
It's one of the most consequential legislative bills I think that we've ever seen. It says very simply this. It says that individuals and corporations can invest in something called a scholarship granting organization. Scholarship granting organization is a nonprofit. It is not being overseen by the Department of Education, only the Department of Treasury to make sure it's a nonprofit. And once money's put in there, there's a tax credit from individuals and from corporations. So there's a win from those who want to invest. And then the parents can take a look and pull out whatever they want to do, private, parochial, homeschool, whatever they want for their kids, since they know their kids best. They can pull from this scholarship granting organization and allow their child to have that opportunity. What it does is brings merit, it brings competition. Education is the only industry in our entire society. There's no competition. There's no sense of the free market. Bring the free market into it, and every school system, including the public school system, is going to rise. It's been proven through about 5 or 6 different states. When you bring competition, everybody does much better because they're competing for that customer, which is that child. So this is something we might be able to put into reconciliation, which we're working, hoping that can happen. But this is going to be very, very big. It's something I'll be talking about every place I go, because it's one of the most important things we can do to give parents a choice of where to go put their kids based on their talents and their interests, and of course bringing competition to the process at the same time.
I want to make sure I get this right. So it's a fund that the taxpayers don't pay into. So it's not a taxpayer funded thing. So people donate to it, but you get a tax credit. So it's like a charity, right? So you get charitable tax credit.
Yes.
So people donate into it. And then do people apply in order to, like, who distributes the money, and how do they determine who to distribute the money to?
That's what the nonprofit does. The scholarship granting organization distributes the money. And here's the other piece of this, Mike. It does not take anything away from the local district, local schools, local state. No, in other words, the idea of taking money away from public school system to give these options is not an argument at this point. It's just basically Americans saying, I want to invest in my kids' future. I want to invest in America's future. So we have a chance to do that in the benefit of kids who have a chance now to get to the best education without taking away not one red cent from the local district and state. It's a win-win, and the only ones who would not like to see this happen are those who do not want our kids to have a choice, who want us to be the smartest kids in the entire. We should have kids smarter than the entire world, period. And right now we're somewhere between 26, 28 in that range of the top 30.
You know, it's it's painful to hear a black man talk like this. It is very painful. He should be taken to a field somewhere and shot and left for the goddamn birds to eat his body. Explain to me this. Okay. If you're from a poor community, a ghetto, who in the fuck is going to donate to your community, for your children, give them grants for your children to be educated? Who in the fuck is going to contribute to the poor communities that don't have no money? Or they themselves are not even educated? This is the kind of shit. There are answers to our problems in this country. But that right there is just, this is the biggest batch of horse shit I ever heard. You rewind it, listen to it yourself. He's saying that corporations and individuals who care will donate, which is a tax write-off, to a fund, and that parents can send their children to this place and to that place and all this type of shit. Who in the fuck is going to invest in? First of all, I have to say this, because lately, the last week or so, I've really been, listening to what the conservatives have to say, and I'm really liking a lot of the things that they say. But then when it gets right down to it, here you come up with a conversation like this, and you get down to the brass knuckles of what they really want. They fucking hate us. If they loved us so much, how come they aren't contributing to the low-income black community ghettos now? If they love us so motherfucking much. No. I'm just asking a question. If these charitable organizations that have the money, because black folks ain't got no money, if they love us so much, how come they're not contributing to our community? Our children right now are killing each other because they ain't got no education. They ain't got no education because when the white people become successful, they take their money and their credit and they create a new community out in the suburbs and they abandon the fucking city. Then the city has no fucking money, and then the rest of the people in the city are like, well, white people are like, well, we left you something great. And then the black people there are like, well, we don't know what to do with it. That's what's happening in this country. So you can have a place like Chicago where all the suburbs are living in fucking glorious. They all got their own individual beautiful school systems. The cops are not riding down on them. They don't have a liquor store on every other corner. They don't have crack pipes for sale in their local grocery store every other block. None of that shit. And their schools are funded, fully funded, and there's jobs everywhere because they make sure when the corporations come in, they don't put them in the city. They put these Amazon warehouses and shit in the goddamn sticks out there in these rural white communities. So explain to me how an inner city is going to recover and rebound if you come up with some shit like this. Tell me. This, you don't have to This is not a secret. Everywhere you go in the country, I don't care where it is. It could be Cincinnati, Chicago, Columbus, Ohio, wherever you go, Oakland, California, St. Louis. It doesn't matter where you go. When you find a ghetto, you're going to find a place that the people that work in the good jobs in the city live in the fucking suburbs. And the people in the city, they say, well, they're uneducated, they're unqualified, they're not eligible to get these good jobs. So the black communities never actually come up. It's a never-ending cycle. And all that they have for our communities are more ways to give us felonies. The felonies give us the criminal record. The criminal record hinders us from making progress. And this is a never-ending cycle. And there's another branch of this motherfucking system. Then out in the same rural areas, they'll put a brand new prison facility, a brand new detention center, a brand new youth camp, a brand new women's prison. That's something going around now. This places like Indiana, a women's prison. And they're out in the sticks. Their jobs pay $100-something thousand a year. They got full benefits, paid vacations, 401ks, all that shit. And they're way out in the sticks. And what feeds the motherfucking prisons are the people in the city. This is, I thought, you'd think at some point, somebody that really cares about people, let me rephrase that, people who are really so-called Christians would come up with a way to reverse this cash cow. But no, it sounds like they want to keep feeding it. Because if you take money out of the city, he's saying, well, that's not going to take any money out of the educational system. No, it's going to keep people dumb and stupid. Because no one is going to contribute to the inner city schools. No one's going to contribute to the black communities. White people do not love black people. I can't say it enough. These so-called Christians, they are not going to fund educational opportunities for black people in the communities. As a matter of fact, what's going on now is they want to take away even the opportunity of black kids that want an education. Because right now things are so bad, kids just feel hopeless. They think it's impossible to get an education. So when our kids actually do decide, you know what, I want an education, but I don't qualify. I don't qualify to get in this school. I don't qualify to get in that school. Because guess what? In my little high school, they don't give us the courses and the classes that I need in order to qualify to go to a higher level college that can make me more educated. So then I will be able to qualify for some of these good jobs. Now they're even taking away affirmative action. They're even taking away for somebody to say, well, you know what? Let's let 10 of them in this school. They're even taking that away. They're saying that that's racist against white people. Say, well, I tell you what, let's let 20 of them in Harvard. They're getting rid of that. They're saying, no. If you put 20 black kids in Harvard, that's racism against white people. It is insane how much they hate black people. Anyway, I don't know what y'all think about it. At this point, there's a lot going to come out this week, and it's all fucking true. And it's not just the Democrats that have been stealing from our government through the tax system. It's been Republicans and fucking Democrats. But, buddy, you're going to hear a lot this week. And it's going to fucking make you fucking angry. But the answer is not to hurt and punish black people. We're already uneducated. I think it's just the opposite. We need programs to super educate kids maybe in fucking kindergarten and first grade. Because by the time they get to 5th grade, their mind is somewhere else. Their mind is on music and other fucking shit. And now that just a portion, maybe 8%, 10%, 12% of our kids are starting to focus on education now. Now they're saying there's too many of us that want to get educated. So now they want to take that away. What the fuck? I'm just, sometimes you're like, what the fuck? So now yesterday, these Hispanics back us up against the wall. They're deporting their motherfucking uncles, deporting their aunts, deporting their fathers, deporting their grandparents. And so now all these Hispanic people, all these Latin people, all these other people are doing the black thing. They're having protests all over Los Angeles. Listen, man, that shit is not going to work. I had to tell you know what? You didn't help us when we needed support. You know who helped black people? Black people. And a handful of white people. Yes, white people were just starting to turn around and say, hey, let's be one big happy family and let's kind of work together and do some things. But you know what fucked it all up? And I'm going to say it because nobody else is going to say it. You know what fucked it all up? It wasn't black people. It's the fact that somebody decided to fund alternative lifestyles and make them feel like they deserve the same rights that African Americans fought and fucking died for. That they should have civil rights and all these kinds of shit. And you can't discrimination. And I need my own special bathroom. And I need all this. I should teach my lifestyle in school. That is what fucked up everything. Just when the country was making progress, all of a sudden, here come these others. Now, everybody knows the country is not for these alternative lifestyles. Now, I've got to just make it plain here. What you do in your bedroom is your fucking business. But I'd be damned if you got a right to teach it to fucking grade school kids, kindergarten children, high schoolers, and middle school children. This is fucking crazy. That's what happened. The black people, you want to know what happened? That's what happened. They tried to include alternative lifestyles into our category that our ancestors died for. We died to be in this position. You know, it took us hundreds of years to soften white people up. Hundreds of fucking years. Hundreds of years to say, hey, you remember this Christian shit y'all be talking, you know? No, nothing personal. Don't nothing personal. No disrespect. Just, you know, you remember this Bill of Rights thing you wrote down and shit? It took us hundreds of years to soften these motherfuckers up. And then here come these other people, these others. And so now the Latin people want to come along. They're like, oh, we want the same rights as the... No, I got news for you, man. Y'all going to have to fight for your fucking rights. You know what that means? Y'all went... Last night, I watched some of the protests online. You know what you did? When the police told you to leave, you bitches left. I hate to tell you, the only way to make change is some of y'all going to have to die. Some of y'all going to have to be beaten up by cops. Some of y'all going to have dogs bite you. Some of y'all I'm just telling you like it is. Some of y'all going to have to go to prison, be charged with some bogus shit. You didn't even commit no crime, and they just charged you with assault on a police officer, and you didn't do a goddamn thing but jerk your hand away. In order for you to make change, y'all have to, there's some suffering involved. You don't just protest and then when the police show up, they just tell you to leave and you just put your head down and leave. Well, if that's the case, you might as well go back to Mexico, Honduras, Pakistan, wherever you motherfuckers come from. You might as well go back home. Because that's not how we got it, and we don't appreciate the fact that you didn't really give a fuck about us. And now that the shoe's on the other foot, now you want black people to give a fuck about you. We told you, if you let this motherfucker get in the White House, it is an unusual event. They tried to put him in fucking prison. You are too stupid to see that only common sense would tell you if you go after a person and all his friends, put them all in jail, give them all felonies, and they fuck around and get the shoe on the other foot, don't you think he's going to want fucking revenge? Trump is mad at the world. And I got news for you. Every time he decides to calm down, somebody's going to remind him, hey, hold on now, wait a minute here. They tried to take your money away. They tried to put you in prison. They imprisoned all your friends. Steve Bannon was locked up in prison. Oh, Giuliani is still being messed with. And after all that, you're just going to forget about it? And then Trump's going to remember, and he's going to harden his heart again. And it's going to happen over and over and over for the next 4 fucking years. So much so, he might try to find a way to run a 3rd term. You know, you ain't supposed to do that. But they're doing some unusual shit because this is an unusual event. Those are my thoughts for the moment. I'm telling you, the way things are now is scaring me because it's just like Malcolm X said. Every time they want to do something that they know everybody's going to complain about, they find a person that will be affected the most about it to agree with them. They'll go get a nigga to say, yeah, man, that's a good idea. This guy right here that you just listened to. They went and got him. And he explained it like white people really are going to fund black community. No, they're not. They don't give a fuck about our communities now. They never gave a fuck about our communities. And in the future, it's going to even be worse. They're going to say, you're on your own. This is democracy. This is about accountability. If you love your children, you'll donate to your own community. That's what I already know what they're going to say. They're going to tell uneducated, they're going to tell broke, uneducated people that it's them. The broke people that's uneducated, well, I mean, if you loved your children, you would, you'd contribute. Our records show y'all not giving no money. They ain't giving no money because they ain't got no money. Anyway, those are my thoughts. The more I think about this horse shit, they've been really trying to get this horse shit through too. Those are my thoughts for the moment. This really got me worked out.